Yeah, so basically I was with National for 11 years. I mean, with the success of the scanner, I was promoted from mechanical engineer to eventually director of engineering for the for that division. And so we went through a lot of other developments. Oh, the other thing I reflected on is, of course, we finally got transferred from this little building down Kiefer Way to another fairly new building, but across the street from the main complex. So Dave Masters and Chuck Rengie and the managers, they had the window light, nice offices, and Fred had a nice office and so forth. So I was supervising the design group. So we had this one room that was all the designers and the boards and so were there. And there was one office, satellite office from that, and so they put Frank and I in this office, so that both of us are, sharing this office. But it turned out to be great because Frank and I really got along well, and by that time we were developing an analytical model for being able to design the scanner, and we did it on the HP67. In fact, I still have one here that was just a fantastic device for it. Let's see.
This is a HP programmable calculator.
Right. This the first programmable calculator was the HP65, and then about 1 year later, they came out with the 67, which had more features than the 65. And so Frank and I both bought them, and they were pretty pricey. It was $400, and back in '75, '76, that was a lot of money. And but very powerful. The instruction set was really neat, and we'll have to.
Okay, we'll break for a minute.
The phone deal.
That's right. So
yeah. So anyhow, what you could do is
the company didn't buy those for you.
No, the company didn't buy us. In fact, the tapes to go that you would record the programs on, we all bought our own for that. And the problem was that you had 224 steps, which is still a lot to keep track of. And so what we would do is we would, on lunchtime, Frank and I would go down to the HP office. It was about 2 or 3 miles away. And they had this HP 97, which I have over here. And we could put our cards in there and it would print out it would actually print out this is the 97, which is the same instruction set exactly, except it had the printing capability. And and then we'd come back and use that printout, and that would last us maybe 2 or 3 days, and we'd be enough changes to the program that we would have to go back and get another printout. But and we finally was able to, with one card, do all the calculations necessary for exiting the scanner patterns.
Yeah.
And then I had another card which then would look at the collection of all this coming back through the system as a retro-reflecting system. Well, Fred, I mean this as a compliment to him, but he taught me a couple really key lessons. I thought was one, he'd see him in the hall and I'd say, "Fred, you won't believe this. We just did this and this. And it's really great." And he would say, "How much does it cost?" That was his first word. And then the other thing was, like, I remember I was trying to get a drafting board, a regular drafting board for my best designer. One that you could move up and down and change the angle and so forth, because we just had real cheap, hinge things. And he said, "Well, how much is that?" And I said, "Well, I think it's $400. He said, "Oh, he doesn't need that." He says, "I never use one." And I said, "Fred, have you ever been on the board?" And he stared at me for a second and he said, "No." And then reluctantly he signed the PO and we got that. But I notice even today that question is not being asked enough, is how much is this going to cost? Because there's a lot of really neat things you can do, but the final thing is this product has to sell, and it has to sell at a price that the manufacturing cost has to be controlled. And